Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hunted Podcast with myself, AJ Cox. Next to me, as always, Levi Mason. If you want to see what we're up to, go make sure you go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can find us all at the Hunted Podcast. So make sure you go through and follow all, like I say, on that and everything. We're two dummies, so we try to keep it up as much as we can, but at least it can be up to date with what we got going on at least at that point in time, what we kill, if we kill, and all that good stuff, what we're working on. So, and then this episode, just like all of our other ones, and so many, hopefully, to keep coming this way, is brought to you by Rec Broadheads. If you haven't checked them out, you need to go check them out. Those broadheads have been doing some work this year. We've had a couple buddies of ours come through and ask us, if these broadheads are the real deal, and I will tell you 100% that they are. We'll get into Levi's story here, and it'll speak in volumes on why we are beyond satisfied with those. Go Wild Oak Whitetail Buck Lure. Make sure you get a hold of Corey, man. Always one deer, one bottle. He's always out there getting on it and stuff. Can't wait to have him in sometime because it's going to be an interesting conversation just to, how he does things and things like that, and why it's one bottle, one deer, and all that good stuff. And then Dominant Strands Bowstrings, man, we can't say enough about, as Levi says, the legend himself, Lewis. Make sure you go through, check them out. Whole bunch of his guys have been going through, and they've put the hammer down on some animals and everything using them bowstrings. I mean, it's amazing. I can keep going on just like with all of our other sponsors about them. ECW hunting calls, we put those to work already this year a little bit. I had a couple. For me, just not old enough to shoot, but my grunt calls and everything did their thing, called in a couple deer. Levi's did the same thing, so make sure you go through, check those out. I'm sure Jeff would, greatly appreciate that. And then we got Morath Welding with Evan. Dude, go through, check him out. I know I always say this all the time, but dude, this man is the sun is up, the sun is down. He is always go, go, go. So if you need anything going on, especially this time of year, I know people the farmers are getting out of their fields, the equipment's breaking and all that good stuff. Or if, any odd and end jobs, Evan is more than willing to at least speak to you on the matter. And then Hex, dude, also going into this conversation, when Levi starts talking about his buck he killed and stuff, it'll speak volumes on how just amazing, incredible Hex is. And if you don't believe us after this story, go check them out. They do little videos and snippets all the time, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, the stuff that you can get away with it. Nature Made Jewelry, little company Levi does here with old antlers and turns them into rings and bracelets and odd and end stuff like that. So if you're interested in something like that, go through, get a hold of Levi. Be more than happy to get something worked out for you. And then keeping on the Levi train here, National Land Realty, Levi's with them. So if you got any questions with land, either buying, selling, or just, questions on maybe what you want to look for, in your price range or hunting properties and things like that, make sure you 100% go through and get a hold of him with that. And then Backwoods Premium Wildlife Products, man, this stuff, we talked about this a little bit before last time. We didn't get the weather or the rain and everything that we were hoping for, and this stuff still came through and growing. I get pictures still, deer out there still eating away, and they're, and with the no rain, the full potential of Backwoods didn't come out, but they're still out there hammering it. And then we want to go through and he doesn't sponsor us, but he goes through and he does our hats for us. So if you are interested in getting a hat that me and Levi have, if you go through, check us out online, we got pictures on there. We're really basic right now, just getting started off, which is completely understandable. I'm sure you could understand that. Go through, get a hold of George. He will be more than happy to get one done for you and get it sent to you, things like that. If you get any ideas and something, maybe you want something on something else, speak with George on that and see if he can't get you hooked up with something on that. So make sure you go through, follow all of them on their social medias and everything. If you do go through and you speak to them, you buy something, or just, let them know that you heard them through us, we would greatly appreciate that. And we're at the point that we go through and do this every single time. Levi and I are very, very pro first responders, military, and everything like that. So we always want to go through, give a little, shout out, a little moment of silence to first responders and military and everything like that. So if you hear this and you would like to have somebody, be given thanks, or if there was a situation you want to go through and say thank you to, military, first responders of any kind like that, let us know. We'll be more than happy to say thank you to them, put that story out there. Even if, people that have passed away, these people have given the ultimate sacrifice. So, two big dummies like Levi and I can sit here and talk about hunting. So right now we're just going to go through, do our little part right now, and just give a few brief seconds here of a moment of silence for the people that have fallen. All right, one more time. If you're a first responder, military, anything like that, or you know anybody that's in the first responder military, tell them thank you from us, because we really do. We truly 100% know that, we would not be able to do what we are doing now if it was not for them. So, all right, we got all that out of the way. We're not too far from gun season here, for, as they say, the Orange Army is going to go out there and just destroy everything. There's going to be no deer left anywhere, and and make sure that if you batten down the hatches and everything, because the whole state of Illinois is about to explode
tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, exactly. I'm kind of excited, man. I haven't been out and shotgun hunted in probably 3 or 4 years. And I'm really excited because you have been doing very good in this last year, spending my money, talking to me about stuff, and then I get all excited and I got to go through and get this, get that. But we both went through and got 350 Legends this year.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what they do. But, of course, Winchester just had to release the 400 Legend. And
right, but like you told me the other day, they didn't have any available, so you're fine. Don't stress out about it. Don't worry about it. Go through, do your thing, smash that buck with that 350 Legend, and then it might be a little bit harder to go through and get a new one. Then you got to stick with Old Trusty. Then
it's going to be a little change of pace, not hunting with a muzzleloader or slug gun now that we can actually use straight wall rifles.
Right, dude. I'll tell you what. My biggest thing that I like about it is I took Danielle out and we went and got that thing sighted in, and she does not like kickback at all. And she was worried about it and everything like this. And she went through and she toughened it up, and she went through and shot that first one, and she just looked at me and she's like, there's no kick to this thing.
Yeah, very, very low recoil.
Yeah, so I'm excited. She's going to hopefully come out and, sit with me one of these days. We can go through and hopefully still snag her a shotgun tag. We've just been busy with life and forgot all about it and everything, but hopefully at least minimally she can come out with me, because, dude, she's a dead eye with that thing, man. Just like with her crossbow and everything else, it would be great. I know we can all go through and debate, we wish the state of Illinois would pass this, or we wish they didn't pass that, and blah, 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 and back and forth and everything. But I'm not a big gun guy. Like I said, no joke, went through and bought one because you said it was the real deal. I did my little research on them and saw that, they're deer killing machines and this and that, and went and bought one, and I shot it the first time, and 100% instantly I thought, dude, this would be awesome for, if you're a smaller stature person, females, getting kids into it and stuff like this, because, dude, we were just out there playing around with it, and because she was enjoying it, dude, we shot 15 rounds, and wasn't sore, nothing.
Yeah, they're very good for women and children, people that don't like recoil. They're great.
And accurate.
Right.
Very, very accurate.
Oh, yeah.
We were putting them 100 yards. Shit, dude. $50, a little over $50.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Danielle was going through and she was beating herself up. She's like, man, I really want to put them she wants to put 3 in the same hole. So I had to, calm her down. Hey, Annie Oakley, if you want to start getting this good, we're going to have to start, putting some money in to some ammo and all this stuff, and you got to practice. But like I said, 3 of them within $50. It was great. I'm excited. Sucks I got to work tomorrow morning, but you don't. So hopefully
be out there.
Be out there first thing in the morning, and you can go through and keep your, I don't know if I'd say it, good luck or skill or whatever you want to call it. Keep your train going here. Do you have any deer that you're looking forward to get for shotgun season?
There's a couple big 8s that have been on the radar that have been pretty nocturnal. I think I've only had 1 or 2 daylight pictures of them each throughout the whole season so far. my number one hit lister at one of the other farms, he decided to snap his whole left side off. So
Oh, that was the one you sent
yeah,
me.
he's off the list now. But I don't know. You just never know once those guns get to blazing what's going to come by you.
Absolutely.
So
That's what we were talking about earlier. That's what I'm hoping out on my property is. I mean, I'm not complaining by any means because I know it's going to take time, work, effort, sweat and all that good stuff. But I am hoping because I have seen some very big deer out there, and hoping the neighbors spook one over my way. But it'd have to be after work and in that hour and a half window. By the time I come home, change, give the wife a kiss and run out the door. But you never know. But then Saturday, well, I was going to say, though, probably Saturday's going to be the bigger, busier day, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be calling in or took a day off for tomorrow already.
oh yeah,
Because as we were saying, because we got a 20, 30 degree temperature drop, pressure going up.
yeah. It's supposed to be. Last I seen, it was going to be like 60 at 2 a.m. and then plummet down into the 30s by like 7, 8 a.m. 16 mile an hour northwest or north wind now. So yeah, it ought to get deer up and moving.
Absolutely. And then, like you said, especially after that first bang, man, they're just going to be.
They're going to be on edge.
Yeah, they're going to be running here and there and everywhere. It's always cool to see, who kills what and all that good stuff. So, nope, excited for that. So, are you ready to get into it, or you want me to keep stalling? Because that's what I've been doing here is trying to stall, make you itch a little bit, wanting to tell your
Let's do it.
tell your story. So, if you don't mind, I'll kind of set it up a little bit here. Levi does what Levi does, gets out, tracks these, or follows these. God bless it. Gets out, gets figured out what these deer do and everything like this and that. And him and I were kind of talking back and forth to where, he wasn't this a farm that you weren't even quite too sure what was going on, like out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just far enough away that I don't make it over there a lot. And, even trying to get over there to hang cameras and stuff like that, or keep cameras, keep the batteries in them and all that stuff. It's just hard. But we've got it figured out kind of the right time to be there now over the last few years. And, if you're in there in that week to 2 week period, I mean, it just seems like if you get the right wind, you can really do a lot of good there. So.
Yeah, because I remember you and were texting back, and you kind of were him humming, like, I don't know if I should go here now. I got this going on, this and that. Don't know what's going on out there and everything.
Yeah, and even I had slipped over there, I don't know, a week or so prior, and I actually did get a camera up, got a blind up, and really wasn't seeing the activity that I wanted.
Right.
But the wind was decent, so I thought, you know what, I got the time. Let's try it. So.
And then it just all worked out. So I mean, that goes to show, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But like you said, like you hadn't figured out about this and that. Me and you text back and forth quite a bit. You just kept saying, I got this feeling. I got a feeling. If I can get into this blind X, Y, and Z, and this and that. And then you were texting me, or group text and everything, and saying, like, man, I got this deer coming by here and deer come by here, and they don't know I'm here, and it was, you can go through and on our Facebook and stuff and check out this blind that Levi covered up and everything. I mean, it looks like a humongous bush, and you said it was covered in this smelly.
Yeah, I'm not even for sure. I haven't even done my research on what this weed is or whatever it is that grows over there, but it just stinks like potpourri. And I've had a lot of good luck over the years, and when I do put a blind over there, brushing it in with that stuff help mask your scent. You can kind of get away with cheating the wind a little bit because of it. And make sure if you're setting blinds. I see it all the time. I seen it running up and down the road this week. People getting blinds ready for gun season, and just go plop up a brand new blind they bought at Walmart or Farm King, and there it is sticking out like a turd in a punch bowl.
And then they wonder why they haven't seen anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brush your blinds in. I am super, super adamant about that. I mean, when you think you've got it brushed in, just keep brushing. I don't know. I used to do a lot of waterfowl hunting, and I guess it's the waterfowler coming out in me. We're used to mud and layout blinds and.
Yeah, but I mean that's a great way to think about it. I mean, 100%. I mean, you go out and you see these waterfowl guys. I mean, they're floating bushes. I mean, yeah, no, that hits the nail on the head. That's a great way to describe that because, like you said, and you can take your blinds, you can take them out and set them and get the smell away and stuff. But I don't give a two hoots on what camo company has something and blah blah blah. They're still going to see that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, brushing it in is absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you watch, Don Kiskey's a master of it. He'll leave a little bit of standing corn, in an area where he wants to sit, and within 10, 15 minutes, he'll brush that blind into that cornfield, and it just disappears. So that's your main goal. Make sure that blind's brushed in good, make it disappear.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so we kind of set the table a little bit. Levi and I are texting back and forth on our group text and everything. He's kind of saw this, kind of saw that. You thought a decent buck go by right before that?
Yeah, I had a pretty good 3-year-old with a screwed up rack. He come right by, bumping some does. They actually, probably came within 5, 6
Say, was that the one that you said was almost about to come in the blind?
Yeah, I thought he was going to come right in that corner window of the blind. And he was grunting, doing his thing, chasing him out there, and got him out in the corn behind me. And I kept hearing him grunting out there, and I could hear him walking, out there through the corn stalks. And I kept hearing a little more grunting, and I thought, it's just him out there, still harassing those women. And next thing I know, I look over to my left, and I've got a doe coming right by me to the left, and I could still hear some grunting behind me, and I didn't think too much of it, and she circled around the blind and kind of went back out to the cornfield. And next thing I know, I look out my right window of the blind, and here comes another good buck coming right by the blind. I mean, he walks 5 yards from the blind on the other side. And it was kind of to my blind spot to where I couldn't get a shot at him. But I seen he was headed kind of to the southeast over towards where my dad was at. He was about 200 yards from me. And I texted him. I said, big buck coming your way. And about 10 minutes went by, and I saw him disappear over that way. And next thing I know, I see a doe come running up out of there, and no buck behind her. And then I hear a loud crash, and it was him rolling down the ravine. Dad had stuck an arrow.
The old man did it.
I think I even texted the group. I said, I think my dad just shot that buck. And about 30 seconds later, he texted me. He said, I killed him. He's dead at the bottom of the ravine. So we were kind of silently celebrating that, through text messages, and just kind of enjoying the rest of the evening. Had a few more deer come by, and about 5:30, Dad texts me, and he says, I think you got to go get the truck and come get me, and we'll get this deer out before it gets dark, since he's, down at the bottom of the ravine. And yeah, that's fine. We'll gladly, give up the rest of my hunt. And we'll get to work here. So I decided I just crawled right out of the blind and got up into the pit cornfield there, and was walking back to the truck, and I was just kind of sneaking along, watching my surroundings, and I just happened to look up, and there was a big bodied deer just coming over the rise of the terrace there, of the dry dam in the cornfield south of the truck, and he's kind of angling to the northeast. Had his nose to the ground, and he was scent checking. I think he might have been scent checking for that doe that had come through with that buck that my dad shot. And yeah, I just kind of knelt down so I didn't spook him or anything. Got down on my knees, and he pops his head up, looks at me, and I've just got a brown hoodie on, my camo pants on. For sitting in the blind, I wanted to wear something dark. I had a dark brown hoodie on, and he just looks right at me and pins his ears back and bristles all up, and I just couldn't believe what was going to happen. I had my hex on underneath, and this deer just keeps coming and coming and coming. And I was able to get an arrow out of my quiver and get it knocked, and he's still coming. And I clipped my release on, and he's still coming, still coming. I mean, bristled the whole way, stiff leg walking, just like you see him do into a decoy. Licking his lips, I could see him licking his lips and his nose pad and everything as he was getting closer. I mean, this dude was ready for a fight, and he just kept coming. And finally, I let him get to what I thought was about, 25 or 30 yards, and I drew back, and he was still coming. And right about then, I got to full draw, and he kind of stopped, and I don't know if he finally smelled a little bit of a rat or what, but he kind of stopped and and turned away from me just a touch more because he was pretty well facing, about straight on to me. And he kind of turned away, and as he turned away, I let the arrow go, and he swung a little more in anticipation of that arrow going and hitting perfectly, right there at the back of the shoulder blade. And he tore off through the cornfield to the south, and I was just in disbelief of what had just happened. I don't know, it was probably 60 to 70 yards away from any cover at all, out in the middle of the wide open. I mean, corn stalks, maybe 18 inches tall.
Yeah.
And, there's my goofy ass out there on my knees with my bow in front of me, and he just walks right to me. So,
that's just, even sitting here talking about it, it happened even a while back, so I know all about it. It still just makes me kind of have that oh shit. Like, that's how many. We all hear stories about like weird things happening, and this and that. Especially, like for guys if they're out elk hunting, they get them close, and but they're behind trees and they're this and that, or you set your blind up or you stand up and you shoot this deer, steps away and stuff like this. But I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody literally hanging out in the middle of a cornfield. And it wasn't, I'm sure you weren't like, kicking stalks, but you're walking back, making some noise.
Yeah. I wasn't being, stealthily, at all, and, over the years I've had some, young deer come, fairly close to you as you're walking in or you're walking out,
Yeah.
but
being curious more than anything. Yeah.
But definitely, and they always smell a rat, before they get too terribly close. And, but never a mature buck like this. I've never seen anything like this happen in 25 years of bow hunt.
All right. It just goes through to where, like I was saying at the beginning, if that story doesn't make you at least want to go through and check out Hex on their website, see it, believe it, and this and that. Guys, we are 100%. We're not going to go through and tell you like this and this and this because we're just not those people. But I know we've talked before in past episodes, like we've had some weird stuff go on since we've had it and stuff like this. But for you to legitimately, I don't know if you said it though, but you said when you first saw the deer, about how far did you say he was?
He was probably a good 125 yards.
Okay, so it wasn't like he just like popped over the top and was like, "Oh shit, I'm going to fight this thing that I don't know, so I don't get beat up." Like
he knew,
he came to you.
Yeah, he knew I was there the whole way.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that just to me by itself, and the look he kind of gave you, is that the look that we usually kind of get, like that kind of like, I know something's wrong, but I can't quite figure it out, but I'm not scared kind of deal? Did he, you know what I mean?
Not necessarily. Like, it was kind of like, okay, this isn't quite what I thought it was. This isn't a deer.
Right.
But, it wasn't like, I guess I don't know how to explain. Like, I can't quite figure out what it is, but it's just like, okay, now that I'm finally in here and, my aggression's maybe let down a hair, this is not what I thought it was.
Well, what I'm saying, it wasn't like the whole, if we didn't have your hex on and, your scent control and all that stuff, like he'd came in and been like, oh shit, nope, gone.
Right. Yeah.
It
was pretty much, he was looking for a fight until that arrow hit him. Like, he was still kind of, and he might have just been trying to circle around me too, trying to get the wind in his favor like they do, when they come into another buck or another decoy. Because the wind was, kind of cutting me. I didn't have the wind 100% in my advantage. So, that makes perfect sense too, that he was trying to stay a little far back to figure out, what deer I was before he closed the rest of the distance. But yeah, by the time he made that mistake, it was too late.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, you guys need to go through and go check out Hex 110%. We are firm believers in it. Okay, so let's go a little bit further than that. So you go through, you stick him, and then you go through and pick up the old man.
Yeah. So I just, I called the old man, let him know what was going on, what just happened, and we were just kind of both in disbelief on the phone. And so I just went over and my arrow was still buried in him. I watched that wreck kind of open him up there first. And so I just went over there. I didn't even really check for blood. I just went over and I found immediately right where he wheeled around when that arrow hit him. So I marked it and just went to the truck and kind of continued on our evening. And he ran to the south end of the farm, so I drove around the north side and went around that way. So the truck, going through the corn stalks and everything didn't spook him if he wasn't dead. And got over there, got Dad's deer out.
Which I'm just going to pause real quick. Your dad's deer wasn't a small deer.
No.
So, I mean, let's give an idea about, the deer that your dad got. So then we can put a little comparison later.
It was a really nice wide 10, good deer. But, and, dragging him up out of that ravine, I mean, he felt like a freaking school bus, pulling him out of there. And I knew the deer that I shot was big. Body. Yeah. I mean, it just made his rack look small. But, yeah, I mean, this deer was just monster body. I mean, he looked like a freaking dump truck coming across there at me when he was ready to fight.
Right. But what I just want to get at, freaking microphones, come on now, there we go, is when we go through and say Levi's deer is big, because like I said, your dad was a good 10. I mean, he was probably what?
I'd say he's probably maybe around 175, 180 pounds field dressed.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Because I remember,
in there.
I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit because I'm getting all excited again. Is when we went, to go find him the next day. Like I went in and I looked at your dad's deer and you're like, yeah, man, he's bigger than this one. And a little bit of me was like, is it though? Because it's a pretty good deer.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you go through, pick up the old man.
Yeah, and then we went back and found where I marked, where he wheeled around out there in the cornfield, and we didn't have any blood all the way across that cornfield. I think I found 2 specks, but I knew where he was going, and because I couldn't, that dry dam, runs all the way along there. That he came over, to the southwest of me, and so pretty much after, maybe 50 yards after I shot him, I lost sight of him once he went back over that dry dam, and so I told Dad, I said, let's just go over there to where, I know where he's going. And we went over there, and there's another dry dam there where it gets into some tall grass going down into a draw. And as soon as he started going downhill over that dry dam, man, he just opened up. I mean, there was just pools of blood everywhere. And we got down in that draw and started tracking. And, I mean, the blood was still good the whole way. And I don't know, we maybe went 50 or 60 yards on it there. And I heard him jump. And it sounded like he was having a hell of a time getting up. So let's back out.
Yeah,
I kind of had
feeling.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling to even go track him, when we did. But, I thought maybe I got in there good enough, and I did. But I thought maybe it was enough to put him down quicker. But, we backed out. I called you. We made a game plan. You came down for the next morning. We gave him another 12 hours. So, ultimately, we gave this deer, 14 hours. And got in there next morning, got right in there to where, we heard him jump and started finding blood right away. And kind of got out there to the cornfield again on the other side of the draw. And we kind of had a hard time finding blood.
Yeah, especially once and I mean, I know me, you, and your dad too. I mean, we were like searching in the bottom of that ravine.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to be laying down there too.
Yeah, because I mean, that sucker was almost like a 14, 15 feet straight up.
Yeah, and come to find out later, the reason why we were having a hard time finding blood is he went like 15 yards out into the cornfield before he ever came back down to that edge, where we started picking up blood again. And I don't know, from there maybe went, another 150 yards.
Yeah.
And there he laid.
But what's crazy to me, though, is, and I know we talked all this about when we were out there, I mean, it was, when people say deer are tough, like, you don't know. Like, unless you've actually been out there firsthand, see what these animals can do. Dude, I mean, you buried that arrow in him.
Yeah.
Buried him.
I can't believe he made it that far.
And went down a ravine, up a ravine, out in a cornfield, like you said, gave him 14 hours. And we go through, and he was still warm.
Yeah, he was just starting to stiffen up.
Yeah,
so.
on the underside, he was still warm. And even his topside was not cold.
No. I mean, that gut pile, when we field dressed him, I mean, it was nice and warm.
Yes. So, I mean, even after we dug into him and did all this, I mean, you especially the angle and stuff like this, I mean, you made a hell of a shot. A great shot. I mean, you couldn't ask for any better. And, I mean, this old brute, I mean, that's just how they get, man. There's old nasty and this and that. And then up, down, in and out in the cornfield, sitting here walking and stuff. And then, we're pretty sure that, he died within the 3 hours before we got there. Cause I mean,
Yeah.
coyotes didn't chew on him or nothing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of coyotes over there.
Yeah. And then, he was starting to stiffen up. It wasn't nothing too bad. And I mean, it was, cause I mean, shoot, even if you went through and gave him, I just completely lost my train of thought. Half that time, like 7 hours or something, dude, there's a good possibility you spooked him.
Yeah.
And he's still moving. I mean, he might not be sprinting balls to the wall, but he's moving.
Yeah, you'd have jumped him again, and it's hard telling where you would have found him.
Especially with, like you were saying, with the, the blood, we'd find some just massive areas and then it would just dry up.
Yeah.
Massive areas and then just dry up, which blows my mind because, I mean, I'll explain like the size of this hole you put in this thing.
God, it was bigger than my fist.
Yeah.
I mean, probably a fist and a half. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that wreck was just buried in him the whole time and just cutting the hell out of him the whole time. And I can't believe he went that far, and I can't believe, how spotty the blood would get at times. I mean, it'd be really, really good and then spotty for, 30, 40 yards and then really, really good again. And I mean, but that broadhead did its job, and I can't say enough about wreck. I mean, that was the only deer I've shot so far that has gone over 50 yards. Mm-hmm. And
I think a lot of that was he was a tough bastard, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was running on just pure adrenaline.
Yeah. And I mean, even when we got that arrow or that broadhead pulled out of him, I was because I keep telling everybody, like, dude, they're tough, they're durable. And I mean, after being in this animal, this and that, once we got him opened up, pulled it out, dude, all you'd have to do, and you probably really didn't even need to, the blades weren't even bad.
Yeah, the blades weren't nicked. The ferrule wasn't even nicked. The tip wasn't nicked. I mean, I'm trying to think here. I think that's like the fifth or sixth deer I've killed with that.
With that same arrow.
With that same arrow and that same broadhead.
No shit.
Yeah, like, dude, all I've done is replace the blades in it.
That's incredible because, like you said, dude, that tip was, I mean, not even bent over, not nicked, not nothing. Like, if you would go through and you would stick your finger with it, you would bleed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, I can't say enough about wreck. I mean, when I shot my doe, it went to work. I mean, the deer you shot last year went to work, and this one was by far the one that was going. But I'm still chalking it up to, I mean, old deer, didn't know what was going on, came down running on straight adrenaline. I mean, he probably didn't even know that, like, he got shot because he probably thought that whatever he thought you were just got him, and he was just trying to run it off to try to, figure out what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, the whole deal is just crazy.
It absolutely is, but I mean, it just shows a true testament, 110% to hex, to wreck broadheads, and dominant strands, because that's what you had to pull back on.
That's right.
Can't forget old Lewis there.
That's right. I wish everybody could have been a part of it, but there was just, the way it went down, it just, there was just, certain pieces of the puzzle that were used on it, and but like we said, we don't push anything that we don't believe in, and especially those three right there, dominant strands, wreck, and hex. I mean, hands down. I mean,
yeah, that's what
made it happen.
Yeah, and that's what we're using more than anything, just because you can't always use a call.
Yeah,
I mean, and things like that. You can't always use deer urine. I mean,
and it's funny you bring up the deer urine, because I've told quite a few people the story over the last couple of weeks since it happened, and everybody's like, "You didn't have any deer urine or anything like that on you? Why would he walk right to you?"
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
I'm like, no, there's no deer urine on me. I'm just scent free as I can be, and like I said, the wind wasn't even perfectly in my favor. It was cutting across me, and it was. The whole reason he came in was looking for a fight, and the whole reason that I got an arrow in him was because of hex. I hands down believe that 100%.
Oh, absolutely. I'm there with you. So we go through, and we finally walk up on him, and if you want to see the little kind of snippet video that we did, you can go through and find it on our social medias and stuff. But I wish, man, I still wish I saw that deer about 5 seconds before you did, so I could have hit record before. But I mean,
And we're not the type of people that are going to remake it either.
No, no. One, I get caught up in the moment, and I just can't
And
do that.
it takes the raw emotion out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a very emotional person. I mean, you can tell by listening to me here on the podcast that I'm pretty mild mannered, you know. But
you were that day.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, you know, the ending of a story like that, I mean, it was pretty raw emotion.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and the thing is like, you're mellow, dude. Your old man's even more mellow than you are. And I mean, he even got excited. I mean, he even gave a, well, I'll be, you know what I mean? A woo, you know, he got it. For him,
Yeah.
he was about doing backflips.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it was just incredible. Like you said, once we got through and got that deer going on and everything. And did you ever tape out those antlers? Because I know we talked about how big that deer's neck was, to where if it really did make that rack look.
No, I never did put a tape on him. He's at the taxidermist now getting a Euro done on him. But I did notice after I caped him off the body and got the, you know, I pretty much skinned him down to the back of the head when I caped him off and got it off there. Once you got it off the neck, the rack looked a hell of a lot bigger.
I mean, because that's just what I kept saying over and over and over. Was I just could not get over how thick that thing's neck was.
Yeah, I mean, I've killed 2 now over there that have just been, you know, massive bodied, massive neck. And I think this one's neck was every bit as big as the last one over there. I mean, it just crazy big.
And what was it, 32 and 5/8, something like that for the neck? It was just under 33.
I can't remember.
I know it was just under 33. And that wasn't even the meaty part. Because when I
Yeah.
measured the meaty part, you said no.
Yeah.
You need to measure this part instead. Because
Yeah.
the meaty part was almost 35, 36, I remember.
Yeah. So you bring out the old taxidermist in me. You flesh that deer down and get him stretched on a mannequin. I mean, he's going on a 28-inch form all day long.
I mean,
That's just massive.
I just still couldn't get over the size of his neck. I mean, it was just, and I really do. I think me, you, and your old man, we sat there, and I mean, shit, dude, he's been hunting longer than we've been alive, you know, so that man's probably seen some deer, seen some shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he even sat there and he even just kept saying about how big this deer's neck was.
Yeah.
I mean, that just over and over and over, I kept getting, you know, over in that. And then,
Well, hell, even, you know, getting him over to my house and getting him hung up, you know, my girl,
gosh.
I measured, because after I got him hung up, I just couldn't believe how big he was hanging there. And I measured from the floor to the ceiling there, where the winch is, and it was like 9.5 feet. And there was maybe 6 inches at his nose, and I don't know, maybe 10 inches at his feet up at the ceiling. So that just shows you how big that deer was.
I mean, just massive. And and this is why earlier I said, you know, I want to make sure that we made it good and clear that your dad's deer was not a small deer by any means.
No.
A good, solid, great deer. And then we went through and put your deer next to his. Dude, it dwarfed that thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you couldn't even compare. I mean, even your dad said something. He's like, well, I guess I should just let mine go. You know what I mean? It was just,
Right.
holy cow. I mean, it's still a great, your dad took a great deer and everything like this and that, which, you know, which was awesome.
Yeah, because that was the first time we've ever doubled on a bow hunt, you know.
Yeah, you guys got to share that moment and
Yeah, I
everything.
mean, that was crazy.
I mean, you got to sit here. You guys doubled, right? You had a buck come in after you, basically shoot it in self-defense, and then for it to be an absolute beast.
I mean, he looked like a freaking steer.
I mean, you guys easily the trifecta. You know what I mean? Like this is a day that and shit. I wasn't even part of it, but I know it's a day that I will never forget. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just, if I was not the little bit part of it that I was, like, I would be like, okay, like, did it really happen this way? Did you and your dad really both shoot a deer? You know what I mean? It just mind blowing. I mean, but that's why you go out in the woods, man. You know, that's why you go out and you go do this
You
stuff.
never know what's going to happen. I mean, November 4th, 2023 will go down as, you know, probably the craziest, definitely one of the best days bow hunting in my career.
Right. And then that's a memory that, you know, you'll have absolutely forever, and got some pictures done of it and everything. And I mean, it just, like you said, you're a very mellow guy and everything like this. And that was by far, like, I'm even smirking to myself right now thinking about it. Cause I mean, dude, I think if I gave you basketball and a 10-foot rim, 2-hand slam, man, dude, you were juiced up.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty mild mannered, but when it comes to bow hunting big bucks, I mean, it's who I am. It's what I love.
The thing that sucks about, you know, you were talking about that Euro Mountain stuff and everything like this, and their necks get so big. It's just too bad that you couldn't mount him like with that neck. You know what I mean? Everybody always goes antler size and all this stuff.
And I would have mounted him, but you know, he was so broke up from fighting and everything, you know, and lost all those inches, you know. And I could have had him fixed, but I'm just not that type of person.
Right.
You know, that's character, and you know, maybe I should have done a shoulder mount on him. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, even though, like you said, you know, it's still going to be like a 28-inch neck. Like that's still not going to be that freaking, you know, 5-gallon bucket neck that thing had.
Yeah.
You know, it just because. I mean, looking at the pictures and stuff, they don't do it justice.
No, they don't.
They don't. But I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And I was beyond happy to be part of it. I mean, it definitely had, even the tracking kind of had its ups and its downs, and had, you know, a little emotional stuff back and forth. Because I mean, when you went to go get the truck, I was sitting there talking to your dad, and I even told him, I was like, man, I'm glad we found this deer. And he's like, yeah. And I said, yeah, because once blood started running out and we were this and that, I was like, I was almost to the point to where like I wasn't even looking for blood. Like I was looking for a body.
Yeah,
something was just, you know, and I know you can shoot, and I know you've killed deer and everything like this, but everybody always, dude, I stuck him good. And then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, did he though? Especially when he turned that little bit, you know, did you just, you know, adrenaline and everything like this and that, getting a little darker in the evening and everything like that. Did he hit him where he wanted, you know, and everything? And it just like I said, just even the experience of going through and looking for him, dude. I mean, ups and downs, and dude, I mean, it was, dude, you saw him. I'm not joking, dude, about a split second before I did, dude. We both jump up, and I mean, it was just, yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, going back to, you know, and anybody that's had to leave a deer overnight. I mean, you know what I'm going through when I say this, but you know, you have the sleepless nights and, you know, all that. And that night really wasn't sleepless, that because of, you know, having to leave that deer or possibly wounding a deer, you know, that was a different kind of sleepless that night. I've had that sleepless where you don't know if you're going to find that deer. You really, you know, replay that shot in your mind and you're just not confident in it. You know, or
you start guessing yourself.
Yeah, like, you might not be, you know, 100% confident in your equipment, stuff like that. And I was 100% confident in my shot, you know, and that's one thing that my dad instilled in me at a young age, being a bow hunter, is you watch that arrow. You don't watch nothing else. You watch that arrow, and as soon as that arrow hits, then you watch that deer. And, you know, still to this day, that's what I remember, you know, every time that bowstring gets released. And, I watched that arrow and I saw him swing into it a little, you know, or I guess swing away from it a little better. So that increased my odds right there. I was, you know, really confident in my shot, really confident in the rec broadhead. And, you know, after finally seeing the blood down there, you know, when it started at the draw, I was really confident in the blood. And so that night, it wasn't a sleepless night because of, you know, possibly wounded an animal. It was a sleepless night in anticipation of getting back out there the next morning and getting on him, because I knew we were going to find him. There was 100% no doubt in my mind. And I think I asked you that, you know, and I definitely asked my dad that, you know, because he's, you know, seen, you know, been on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blood trails and, you know, all the deer he's killed. And, you know, he was very, very confident in it too. And so, yeah, it wasn't a sleepless night due to, you know, my mistake. It was a sleepless night due to anticipation of getting out there.
Like Christmas morning when you're a little kid.
It was, man. Because I had a lot of people asking me that night, you know, what ones I told, because I wanted to kind of keep it hush-hush so we could, you know, do a lot about it, you know, on social media and the podcast and stuff like that. But a lot of people I told about it, they were very confident in my shot, you know, very confident that we were going to find them. And, you know, and then we got there and found them, and, you know, we were able to even bring Chris, you know, that we've had here on the podcast, Chris Donovan. You know, we were even able to bring him, you know, he's in our group chat, and we were able to bring him into the mix too, because, you know, he got over, you know, on the neighbors. So a buddy of his works for the farmer, and I called Chris, and he got a hold of them, and they said, yeah, go in there and get after him. And so we got in there and, and got him found, and they were gracious enough to let us drive the truck right there to him too.
Oh, yeah,
So we didn't even have to drag him. And, can't thank Chris enough for doing that for me. And his friend and the farmer, and, very, very thankful for that. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if you're going to be listening, but honestly, I do really, really appreciate it.
I do too. My back, big time. Because if you said, yeah, you could go get it, but don't drive your truck back there, dude, we were about to get a 700-foot winch or something, because that thing was heavy, just putting it up in the back of the truck the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, I've been looking forward to doing this podcast for a while. I mean, we've talked about. I mean, I'm still even getting goosebumps talking about it right now. I mean, dude, that is so much of what you go for when you go hunting. Like I said, your old man and you got one for the first time. Boom, that'd have been a great memory by itself.
Oh, for sure.
You going through and having this crazy encounter with this buck coming through, stuff like this. Boom, that would have been a great, story by itself. Killing a huge, big, monstrous old deer, that's a whole thing. But somehow that lucky horseshoe in your ass allowed you to get all three of them, man. I mean, I really do hope that you understand, like, just how incredible that really is. Because, I mean, I've been hunting for a while, nowhere near as long as you or any of these other people that I talk to and stuff like this. I mean, I've seen some stuff, been part of stuff, and to me, like, to see this whole thing, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there definitely was, because everybody gets this way, like, man, I wish I had something like this to happen. But I was just so thankful that, like, I was part of it, because, dude, that is something to, until I get old and lose my memory, or until I die, dude, that is going to be a story that I will forever have. I mean,
I just wish I could have had it on video for everybody.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
If you did, if you did try to have it on video, though, you know what would happen?
Never happened.
It wouldn't have happened, or it wouldn't have recorded, or it would, something weird would have happened, and then it wouldn't have been as great. Because I don't know if you could get that lucky to have 4 things like that to go through, have all that, and then get it on camera.
Well, and it's funny, you bring up the horseshoe in my ass. We were talking about that after I texted the group and said, hey, my dad just shot that one, that went by me, and I was talking about how he's got the horseshoe in his ass, and 30 minutes later, I pull one out of mine.
Yeah, I don't know, it must be in them jeans or something. So, but I mean, it all jokes aside, I mean, dude, your old man's been, like I said, hunting longer than I've been alive. These the deer and the stories, dude, I love talking to your old man about stuff like this, because he's
a killer.
Dude, he is. I mean, and that's the best way to put it. But I mean, and like I said, I'm not joking. Anybody that's listening, Levi's chill, mellow, easy going. But if you listen to him and his old man talk, Levi is the one that is yelling, screaming and stuff. I mean, just because his dad is just so much more just mellow, chill, this and that. Like these deer antlers, deer mounts he's got up on his wall and everything like this. Like, you're just like, dude, this dude knows his shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there should just be like tips and tricks and going through and telling, he should walk around a little bit and be like, psh, dude, that's what you killed? Like, I killed this and this and this. Dude, we go to your parents' house. Dude, it's like I've known them my whole life. Open up the door, come on in. Do you want some of this? Oh, no, I'm full. No, you're not. Here's some more food.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Levi showed me the picture of that deer for me. Oh, did he? Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, it's just, there's nothing to it, dude. I love talking to your dad. I was so happy. Like I said, I experienced that with you and your dad. But I guess what I'm getting to is luck, right, wrong, or not, dude. I mean, you've learned that from your old man and everything like this. I mean, was his old man a hunter at all?
No. My dad was, they did a little rabbit hunting and stuff like that when he was a young kid. But after that, no, he bought a gun and gun hunted, I think, the first year, and then he shot a deer doing that. I couldn't even tell you what year it was he started now. But I mean, it was a long time ago. I mean, it's been over 50 years ago.
But all self-taught.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like I said, talking to him about this and that, it just listen to some of his stories and stuff. Dude, I wish I could just go through, because I'm sure he's probably forgot a lot of stuff in his years too. I wish I could just like pull these out of his brain, dude. I mean, that is something to where I hope that me and you, when we get old, we retire, boots off, kicking this up, drinking, having a beer, bullshitting. I'm really hoping that someday there could be like these two Nimrods like us, and you're, dude, you should, Levi and AJ, man, these guys kill some deer, man. They should, I hope I can go through and get this and this and this. Like your dad, hunting wise, is seriously like what I look for, dude. I mean, super chill, super easy going, but like you said, dude, the man is a killer.
Right. I mean, I just can't believe it. And there's a lot of times I think I've got a good plan on something, and then I'll run it by him, and he's like, well, maybe we should do it this way, or, maybe we should put this stand here instead of there. And a lot of times I want to second guess him, but then I think to myself, I'm like, God, look at his wall compared to mine.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be very successful, but it's like, that dude's got some big deer on the wall.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, like how are you gonna argue with that?
Yeah, you just can't. I try to do my thing, and and a lot of my plans work out, and I'll get lucky and shoot a nice deer. But I wonder, sometimes if maybe I hadn't done it my way and still did it his way, would I have shot an even bigger deer?
Right. True. But I do want to talk about one more thing with your dad. I don't know if we talked about this before we get off here. But dude, so that's my number one memory. Do you want to know what my number two memory is now? Which was number one for the longest time. It was when the three of us went turkey hunting. Dude, I will never ever forget this. Your dad, what'd you say your dad's 60?
He's like 72,
72.
73 maybe,
And
something like that.
And still going out and doing it to it. I mean, he's...
Oh yeah, you can't stop him.
No. So when we went out, dude, and I'll never forget, there was that morning that again, another animal is basically trying to attack you, and you're killing out of self-defense, is when that turkey came down this spring.
Pretty much landed in our laps.
Landed in our laps, dude, but we're going through, dude, and I know I'm trying to be quiet, but I can't see, and I'm big, and I'm fucking doofy, and you're walking through, being quiet, and this and that, trying to get it figured out. I'm trying to get a camera in the spot. We're all whispering. Your dad is 70 years old, dude, tripping over this, stepping on that, almost falling over. Can't hear nothing because we're whispering. And then you and your dad are going through, dude. This, I will never forget this part in my life, is when I'm sneaking up to set up these cameras. You're sneaking out to put out them decoys, dude. And when you turn around, you tell your dad, you're like, wait there. I'm going to go through and I'm going to put this decoy out there. And your dad goes, okay. And you walk out to go put that decoy out, dude, and your dad was following you, and you turn around and he runs into you, and you're like, what are you doing? And your dad just answers back again, huh? Oh, you're...
Too many years of running power equipment and saws and all that,
exactly
doing construction. Man can't hear.
Can't hear, but dude, that was, like I said, dude, I absolutely was more than, I loved being part of that, loved being part of that deer recovery. Your dad, I don't know how I got on this rant with your dad, but dude, your dad absolutely kills me, dude. And he is a killer, like you said.
It's I don't know. It's like grumpier old men when we get together out there hunting,
dude.
Just going back and forth with each other.
And it's so great. It's so great because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my dad to death, but my dad ain't no killer. Well, unless it's in about a 12-ounce can, then he can do some killing. But I mean, that's how me and my dad is too. But I'm so, like I said, very happy to be part of it. I was more than happy to go through and track this deer. I mean, you blew that thing up, man. He's an old. Oh, which by the way, since you went through and went to get him Euro mount, did you get a better look at his teeth at all? Get it about age?
No, I haven't yet.
Because I know out there you said about 7-ish is what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, he was super slammed when I took that deer into him. So I don't know if I'm sure he's got him caped off by now, but I haven't been back to look at anything yet. But we'll check him out, here hopefully soon and get an age on him. But I don't even know. I mean, I'm guessing at least 7. I mean
he'd have to be, like me and you were talking before. I mean, he was starting to get like those rolls on him.
Yeah, I mean, when I caped him off, he had rolls in his back strap.
Yeah,
like I've never seen rolls like that on a deer. Like just straight up fat rolls.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very interested to see about what it all comes to. So, yeah, man, like I said, I'm been on sitting on edge, and I'm sure you've been getting annoyed when I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this podcast. Hey, we're gonna get
Oh,
this
no,
done.
I've been
Hey,
excited
you
to
know
do
what I
it.
mean? And I'm glad we finally got it all worked out, and I hope you guys listening got to enjoy this. Like I said, go through. We put up some pictures on our social medias and stuff, and just in case you don't believe that we're actually sponsored, Hex put us on their stuff, to prove a point and everything like this and that. Old Dominus Trans got us on there too, so we're not just blowing smoke here. They are taking the risk and running with us, which we absolutely love and all that stuff. So, I mean, as usual, man, we're running on about an hour here. So, I mean, unless you got something else.
Nope, ready to put the hammer on another one tomorrow.
Exactly. I can't wait. Hopefully that front coming through is going to be doing to it and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, so like always, guys, make sure you go through, check us out on social media, go through and check out our sponsors and everything, because, we couldn't do this without them. 100% go through, watch videos, any questions like that, get a hold of us. We're more than happy to talk to you, try to go through and get stuff figured out. So I think we're going to close this one up here. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.